Hey everybody, welcome into the arena, and in this episode of the Rings of Power, our discussion, it's a spoiler discussion. I'm your host Expat, along with my co-host Burly of Burlyman Gaming, our in-house expert on Lord of the Rings. So we got another episode, season 2, episode 4, dropped the other day, so we're ready to give our thoughts on it. So before we get started, though, this is a spoiler-filled discussion. So if you have not seen the episode yet, please go to Amazon Prime Video and check out the episode before coming back and enjoying our discussion about the episode. So let's go ahead and jump into it, Burly. So you ready?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. So the first image I'm going to show here, and then we'll discuss these. This was my favorite part of the episode. And the reason it was my favorite part of the episode is because, Elrond, he was named the commander of the elves, that this small group of elves that were going to go after Sauron. Mm-hmm. And obviously you have Galadriel, talking up that we should do this, we should do that, and the thing with her ring, of course, she's seeing all these visions and trying to tell Elrond that we should go in a different direction. For example, she was trying to talk him into going farther south, I think it was. And he was not going to have it. And she was almost, at a top level insubordinate. And so he just had to come up and just tell her, look, it's either you do things my way or you go back to Lindell. Mm-hmm. And just putting his foot down. He loves her, and they've been friends for so many years, but it's like, and he wants to believe in these visions of hers, but still the fact that she let Sauron manipulate her is still bugging him. And that ring that she's wearing is bugging him. And so I love the back and forth between them, and the fact that he was going to put his foot down, and and he called her lieutenant a couple of times to make sure that she knew who was the boss. So your thoughts on the back and forth between Elrond and Galadriel?
Oh, it's great. It shows you what has happened to the relationship. It shows he still respects her. It does show, because he asked her, he's like, I want archers and I want some swordsmen you recommend in the army that you recommend for this scouting mission. It does show, that shows you, okay, he trusts that. And he's like, okay, if you don't do it, I'll get someone else to get me recommendations. Like, he does respect her, but like you said, he is upset. He's mad about her with the whole Sauron, and he still does not trust that ring, because she's been using the ring and she's getting visions and stuff. He doesn't trust it because he's like, no way Sauron didn't have influence on this.
Yeah, and of course she sees her in her latest vision the fate of the elven city Eregion, and she's definitely wanting to let Elrond doubt her, but she was still focused on the mission, and I love later on as she tells him to take the ring, as they run into the orcs later on in the episode, and she's like, I will hold them off as to my end if I have to. And then Elrond says to the others in the group that she's not doing that for us, she's doing that to protect the ring.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And he is right on that. I love that. See, because he didn't fall for all this. He's not getting seduced by the ring's influence, so he's got more level-headed, more clear thinking.
Yeah. Now, before we go to the next image, I just want to say what I really liked about this episode too, Burly, was the transitions with the maps. Going through the map and seeing parts of Middle Earth that they're transitioning to. I really liked that. What did you think of those?
Oh, that was great, and it was giving me little stuff of okay, this is near in the Rohan area, near Fangor Forest and all that. So for people that know this stuff, and you can pull up some of the Tolkien maps, I know it doesn't fully align perfectly, but you've got, it's a neat little thing, winking a nod to book read.
Yeah. Okay, so next up, let's go to the next image here. So I'll let you explain this, Burly. So we get back to the stranger, and then we get back to the, as he calls the halflings. Or the Harfoots, actually. So they run into this new group. So who are these people and this character in this group that they run into here?
So they run into hobbits. So now we get a little hobbit burrow. So with all the little holes and stuff like that. So they interact. They start talking and like, hey, you're close to us. But then once they make mention when Poppy and them make mention of the Wanderer, the Sorcerer, they tie him up. But because Poppy mentions one name, the leader of the Harfoots, the Traveler,
right.
I'm blanking on the name.
It's okay.
She unties one of them and brings them to the map, and then and the thing on the board, like on the map thing, they show you. And they make reference to the one place that is known as the Shire. That if you've watched the Hobbit movie or read Lord of the Rings, you know exactly what that is. Yes. So they make mention, which is a nice little wink and a nod. So it's just setting stuff up like that. But near the end of this stuff that we get the masked guys coming in, terrorizing a little, and basically being like, give us the two halflings. No problems. And they're like, oh well, we don't know where they are, we know nothing. And he's like, there's a reason why we wear these masks, and when we come back, you're gonna find out why.
Right. And the Dark Sorcerer earlier, of course, he's telling them to just focus on the Harfoots and the halflings, and I'll take care of the sorcerer or the stranger and whatnot. Yeah. So that's going to be interesting. So. All right. So next up, and then we get here, of course, Galadriel and the group. They're making their way through the sticks and everything, and this was a really cool part of the episode, and the combat scenes were really impressive, and like the arrows and the swords, and then you get of course these, they're like weights kind of, but I guess they had been like princes or something, or kings from like a millennia ago that have been buried, and only their own swords were able to destroy them and to take them out. So what did you think of this sequence of battle scenes here?
Oh, this was just this to me was the best part of the episode. The action was good, but you had the good dialogue in them of they're all being creeped out. You got visions with the ring here, and Galadriel's like, should not be here, and all that. You get that, and then you get the battle and it's showing the elves, even though their weapons are not working, like it cuts the head off of these people and it's not killing them. You can see the elves, their fighting technique and all that, and then them realizing, I think it was Elrond that picked up the spear and kills one. He picks up a spear and is the first one to kill one. They're like, we need to use their weapons. They're all like old ex-royal high-up members of men. And they just have to kill these things and use their own weapons. And they're alluding, did Sauron did this? Did he put a curse upon these men, or was it someone else? We don't know at this moment.
Yeah, and those glowing eyes, man. It's like, it was pretty creepy. It's like the one elf is like looking around, then that one, the eyes like glow for like a brief instant, like in like a mini cave there. Yeah, that was pretty cool, man. That was pretty cool. Okay, now we get to the stranger, obviously, here.
And good old Tom Bombadil.
Yeah, Tom Bombadil. Yeah, and I loved the way he explained who he was, in a sense, and told the stranger, because the stranger mentioned Sauron, and then Tom says to him, you are here to take on both of them, the Sauron and the Dark Knight, or the Dark Wizard, to take on both of them, because them combined with their powers will, just dominate and take over Middle Earth, and so you are here for a purpose, to take on both of them. So what did you think of the back and forth between them? And of course, later on, we're going to see more of these two together as the season progresses. But what did you think of the beginning scenes? And it was funny when the tree, just envelops the stranger, eats him, and then Tom has to go out there and tell the tree, okay, let him go. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah,
and I love that. And Tom, he actually says a line that he actually says in the Fellowship of the Ring book. It's like, trees should be good, burrowing down deep, enriched in the soil. I can't remember the line for line, but it's stuff like that. If you're a fan of the books and a fan of Tom Bombadil, Tom Bombadil in this says a lot of lines in reference that he says in Fellowship of the Ring and stuff like that. So it's a neat thing. If you are a book fan, you do get a lot here. I think they did Tom Bombadil very, very well. Like, I love the back and forth thing. He's like, who are you? What's your name? Name? Oh, I haven't had that. They used to call me this. I am so old. I have really forgotten my doing that kind of stuff. And it's great. It's great.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, and next up, then, of course, we get, Arendelle and Isildur and Estrid. And I just loved, Arendelle, he just has those, he's got that magical sense of being able to know what's up with a particular person. And he could see right through Estrid in that sense that, she wasn't telling the truth. And it's like he could smell the burn mark that she had put on herself to try to hide the mark of, Adar. In the previous episode, and then cuffed her up and everything. But, later on in the episode, Isildur still seems to fall for this girl. And who knows what's going to happen there. She runs off when, Isildur and then, they get enveloped into the mud. You think it's just like a mud pit that's like a quicksand, and then all of a sudden it's a big worm. It was very Witcher-like to me watching those sequences. It's like it's like where's Geralt gonna come out and rescue the day? But you don't need Geralt when you got him. Yeah, he's got his detective sense. I love that. Yeah. He figures it out really quick, and he's like, I love it. Because of all the stuff he had happen in season 1, he takes no chances. Puts her in chains, and she's like, surely I could walk better and stuff like that if I didn't have these chains and handcuffs. He's like, yeah, better to run. He's like, I ain't stupid. I ain't letting you go. And they do the thing of when they both get into the mud quicksand, you think, she looks and you think, oh, she's just got to run away. Nope, she runs. She grabs a stick to pull them out. Right.
And then as he pulls it out, I love it. He just puts an arrow into the beast, gets a piece of the flesh. And they're like, what is it?
And then it's dinner. It's dinner.
I love that. It's a thing that has no name. We shall call it dinner.
That was great. That was great. Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah. I'm hoping he runs into Galadriel again in this season. I don't know if he will, but it's interesting.
It'll be
about
end
his
of season if they run in.
It's interesting because he is not in the books, right? He's a made-up character for the TV adaptation of the Rings of Power. I don't think he's a character in the Tolkien novels at all. So,
from what I remember, I don't think there is a character named this. I could be wrong. That's the thing with the Tolkien. It's the same with George R.R. Martin. A million freaking characters. It's hard to remember them all.
Yeah, well, let us know in the comments. But I'm thinking that I don't think he is a character in the Tolkien novels. But let us know if he is, if Arendelle is. But I think he was only made for the TV adaptation of the Rings of Power. But anyway, so so they go on this big search party, to find Theo, and then they basically. I was thinking that the giant might have had him Because at the end of the episode when Theo, he's like looking up, and you hear this, you think, I thought it was that giant that was meeting Adar from the previous episode, but no, it was the trees. So yeah, and
it was an Ent that got him. Yeah, the Ents looked much better in this episode than they did at the beginning of the season. I must say, I think they look better, and I love the discussion between the elf and the Ent,
Arendelle,
Arendelle and the Ents, and him just, like I will promise you this and that, and I like this. And then the Ents realize he's no threat. Let Theo go. Theo thanks him and is like, okay, maybe I should be, I shouldn't be so cruel to you because you went out of your way and just saved my life.
Right.
He would have, if it would have stayed, he would have just been stuck in the Ent there and just shriveled up and died.
Exactly. With the others too, because it wasn't just Theo; it was several others that were, held captive as well. So, but so the amazing stuff. It was really cool, and then at the end of the episode, obviously we get Galadriel. She's fighting the orcs off, and and then she gets captured by Adar. Of all people, Adar is there. Right. So once again, Galadriel is in custody, by Adar. So, I mean, it was a good episode, but I think and of course the set pieces and all just amazing again, as it has been throughout the season, and the music as well. But I think it was more of a filler episode in a sense. It wasn't so heavy when it came to the combat and all of that. There were a few really good combat scenes, as we discussed, but overall I think it was a good episode. It wasn't as good as the first 3 episodes though. But your thoughts?
Yeah, this is definitely the weakest of all 4. This is the weakest episode. This is the episode where we really got combat. We're like heavy into combat, so the combat was good. But this I wouldn't say filler, but this is more. We're just setting up and kind of paying off small things to get to, because we have a lot of stuff we still got to go through. Like the one thing is, like, we got Adar back and the orcs and Galadriel being captured. He captured Galadriel. So this is going to be really good to see the back and forth then. And now it's on the elves. Elrond's got to get the elven army in time.
Yes.
And because you don't. Yeah, he may not like Galadriel, but Galadriel knows a lot, and you don't want her getting tortured to death, and you don't want Adar with those orcs getting some knowledge. And he's calling it. Remember at the beginning of the season, he's calling in allies everywhere, sending orcs to get allies with trolls and stuff like that. So he's preparing for war.
Yeah, we'll probably see that, and we'll probably see more of Numenor in the next episode as well. We didn't get any of that in this episode, so that's one of the things about the series so far, and the season, is they've transitioned from places throughout Middle Earth, and there's some episodes where you don't get a particular region. So that's interesting. So. Looking forward to the next episode. So episode 5, we'll be doing a recap and a discussion of that next week as well. So stay tuned for that. So I've been your host, Expat, along with my co-host, Burly of Burlyman Gaming, our in-house expert on the Tolkien novels and the Lord of the Rings series. So anyway, take care, everyone, and we shall catch you again next week for our next episode. So take care, Burly, and take care, everybody. Peace.
Bye, everyone.
Out.
Long live Sauron.